What's up everyone, Jollibee here, and today I introduced to you guys a new game. Life is Feudal. It's very similar qualities of Worm Online, but a bit better graphics and a bit more 3D, and it's not using such an old Flash Java engine. So today I'm going to be talking about some early tips for you when you start out your character. First advice I can give you for your character creation is get your combat skills and max out your horse handling. With horse handling, at 60 you can equip the easiest armor to create, which is chainmail armor, and with that you don't have to grind any of the other harder skill to grind early on. Plus chainmail only requires iron, while most of the armor requires a higher tech tree and requires a lot more steps to do. Thus harder to acquire early on. So I recommend getting warhorse handling at 60 to begin with. Yes, they are now introduced horseback riding, but horses are still very rare, and you still need a high level skill to build the barn, and requires expensive resources to do so, which prevents you from doing it early on. Aside from that, I will recommend that you get your targeted weapon up to 30, so that way you don't have to be stuck with its primitive training weapon. Like for blade mastery, if you have it at 0, you're stuck using a wooden weapon, and to create a wooden sword you need rope, which is hard to get by early on because that requires 90 farming, and then procuration to get the rope tanned, and then you have to sew it. And then same for two-handed blades mastery. So you pick or choose your favored weapon and get it up to 30. Throwing weapon, not that hard to raise, because then you can make a sling and you can use that as your basic range weapon, which you'll use a lot when you are hunting for animals to begin with. Those slings don't have much range. You can get close enough so that the animals will not run away, and you can just pepper them at range. Militia services are alright. Allows you to use pitchfork and spears, but again, militia service, blades, and throwing weapon will stop your progress because it requires you to use that armor which is hard to make before you can move on to the next tier. Aside from that, we can go back to attributes, and strength will increase your character equipment limit. Agility will increase your movement speed slightly and your accuracy with ranged weapons. Constitution will increase your hit points. Willpower will increase your stamina, and intelligence, though not much of a factor right now, so I recommend leaving that 0. But intelligence will increase your maximum stat points by 1 per every point past 10, and also has a major role in siege weapon. But siege weapons is only a placeholder right now, so there's no point raising that or putting any points into it down the line. Races don't do anything right now aside from it changes your base stats from your crafting and combat skills. So select as you will. And crafting skills you can raise easily throughout the world. So just pick your pick whichever you feel like raising. I'm gonna raise prospecting and max out forestry. So like that. Prospecting to 30. Oh, come on. There you go. I'm just gonna name our character. I'm gonna go ahead and show you oh, I had the space on that. I'm gonna go to Vlad the Impaler and show you what the word looks like when you start out. So this game is still in alpha, so do keep that in mind. If you're not into playing things in alpha, then I would recommend this game for you. It is still a very fun game. Once it's actually fully released, it's going to be just one giant world where every players will play on in one region. But as of right now, it's all private servers and into a smaller map. So it's privately owned, but once the game progresses on, you will be put into an open world like Worm Online, where you all interact in one giant world. As of right now, when you spawn, you will spawn in a random area in the map for the first time. So what you do is bust out your map, locate where you are, and get your bearings. Now the first thing you want to do when you first start out is find yourself some easy food. If you check your inventory, you got 5 cookies. Now the easiest food you can do is searching for apple trees and harvesting those apple trees. I think this tree is an apple tree. And you can go from there. No, it's not an apple tree, I think. So we're gonna go inspect. And as you can see, it's an elm tree. So in your inventory, depending on your server you're playing, you may be getting some tools or not. So the first thing you want to do is create yourself some primitive tools. Now, you just need to create your primitive tools. You need some basic materials, which is some sticks or branches, some plant fiber, and either flint or stone. Now to do this, you're gonna need to find a tree, right click on it, and go under forestry. You're gonna snap off a branch. Now since you're gonna be doing this a couple of times, you're gonna go right click on it and then find off the command that says snap off branch and right click on it also. And with that, it will put the command into quick action. So instead of right clicking going through all the sub menus, all you have to do is left click on that tree and your character will snap off that branch. So you're gonna do this a couple of times. As you can see on your system window, your skills are increasing as you go. Now for plant fibers, I'm gonna change my video setting for you guys. 45 on grass. For plant fibers is you need to find yourself a grass tile like what I'm standing on. Right click on it. And then under nature's lore, you're gonna go gather plant fibers. So you're gonna go ahead and Right click on that so I don't have to go to the sub menu again. And left click on the tile and your character will try to find some plant fiber. Now this will always not be successful. You may fail and find nothing, but you just can keep trying on the same tile and your character will find those plant fibers. As you can see, now we have 2 plant fiber at 10 quality. We have 2 branch at 61 quality. And from that you need some flint. To find some flint is you need to find a rock tile, which are mostly found in hilly areas. So if you look at our map and location, we are on top of a little mountain. There is one giant mountain right here, which we can see from the distance right over there. So same thing, you're gonna go find yourself a rock tile, right click on it, and then under prospecting you're gonna go search for useful flintstones. I'm gonna right click on that and find me some flintstone. Your character will go, and same thing for plant fibers. You may fail and find no flintstone at all. So I'm gonna gather 2 of each for now. And show you guys how to make a flintstone. I mean your primitive tool. Now with that you can go right click on a stick and under forestry go create primitive tool, which you will, and then you're just gonna go put on the drop down arrow and you're gonna select your primitive tool. So for me, I'm gonna make myself a primitive axe, which requires 1 stick, 1 branch, 1 flintstone, and 2 plant fibers. So I'm gonna go ahead and create that since it's a good tool and also a good starting weapon for a new player. And then you can also go down the line and figure out what tool you need, but I would recommend that you create your pickaxe, a shovel, and a sickle to begin with as you explore around the map, and also maybe a sling. But without making a sling does require a lot of plant fiber. As you can see, I'm lagging a bit. This is very common every time it's morning and life is feudal, because that is called morning lag. That is when the server updates and saves itself from the database, and you will see a morning lag. As you can see, this red area right here, I have my sea territory turned on, so I can see all the claim guild tiles, which is the red. When you start out, you won't see that, and if you hold F4 you can see the red tile, but if you want that to be persistent, you gotta hold Control and F4, and there you go, that red tile will be popping up all the time. This is very useful as you explore, because you wanna set up your first base fairly far away, or at least far enough away from these, because usually people are not keen to nearby neighbors. And as you can see, there's also a red marking on that big mountain, which means that someone is up on that mountain and developing it. Now that did I not make my primitive axe? So I'm gonna go ahead and create that primitive axe for you guys. I thought I did. And I'm gonna show you guys how to equip it. Early on, quality doesn't matter, but as you progresses through the game, you will want higher quality things. The higher the quality will usually mean the better. So right here, and you need to bust out your equipment slot. And when you drag it to your equipment slot, you get 4 slots total, and you just put the axe wherever you want. As you can see, our speed went down because we have an item equipped. So do keep that in mind, that primitive tools are kind of heavy, which will reduce your speed a lot. So if you're exploring, I wouldn't recommend equipping all, just only one for self-defense. So now that you have your axe equipped, your first main goal is, like on most servers, you need to find a public mine, use your pickaxe, and either prospect, and then once you have your mining high enough, as you can see my mining is 0, so you need to prospect a rock wall, and then once you have it high enough, you want to get your mining up to 60 and then stop from there. Most private servers with a good dedicated GM, and of course more than one GM, they will enforce that there is no mining in the server, because as of right now mining is broken, where if there are many mined areas, the server will crash and make the server very laggy. Oh, there's some clipping over there. So do keep that in mind. The first thing you want to do is find the public mines in your area of the server and grind your mining up to 60 and then go from there. My recommendation is find a mining area first before you start exploring for a potential home. Get your mining up and then look for your potential home. Most servers will allow infinite files, which is the alternative source of getting metals and rocks for these games, and to prevent players from mining. On dedicated servers, no one really enforce this, so the people will make their mine entrances, so keep that in mind, as that server will be unstable and very laggy. Now my next big tip from you guys is, if you do have infinite files and has limited items to have in your infinite files, you may want to develop near clay, which is spread out throughout the map. Now if you zoom in all the way on your map, you can see the clay tiles by this little dark brown area, little strips. Right here is clay. So they are spread throughout the map, so keep that in mind. Although there are some areas where clay doesn't exist, like in this region right here, I don't see no clay. So clay is important for building walls and like kilns, forges, and all that. So do keep that in mind, as if you don't have any clay source nearby and infinite pile doesn't allow clay, you're gonna have a long walk to go. Aside from that, apple trees are your friends early on, because this is your easy source of food. So do keep that in mind. As for that should cover up most of your beginning advice I can give you. This little white tile is snow, and that will slow you down. So make your primitive tools first. Find the public mine so that you can grind your mining skill up, and then find a suitable spot for you to work on. If you are exploring, you do find an apple tree, please go ahead and harvest. A full-grown tree will have 50 apples, and it will replenish every full day cycle. And then while you're at it, you should get couple of apple sprouts from it, so that once you do start developing an area, The sun is very strong on that one. You're able to plant that apple tree and sustain yourself till you get some decent farming going. Oh, and then one last advice: if you are in a PvP heavy server, if you don't know how to bust out your weapon, all you have to do is press R and find that designated area for your for that weapon you equip. So it's either 1, 2, 3, or 4, and then for us it's 4, and your character will bust out your weapon. And swinging the weapon is as easy as pressing a left click, but it also has chivalry mechanics, where depending on how you look at on your cursor, it will do per different actions. You can do backslash, forward slash, overhead, and a thrusting attack. Alright, that should conclude my basic tutorial for Life is Feudal. If you have any questions or any suggestions for me for my future video, please leave a comment down below. And if you find my videos educational, entertaining at all, please hit the like and subscribe button. Alright, Jollibee out.